We are presently going through chapter 11, that is Moksha Prapti Vichara Yogaha. It is the association of the inquiry about the attainment of salvation. So this is the verse that we left off last time, and it was the story about the transformation of devotees, which happens due to the spiritual knowledge of God. And the context was that initially God plays with our, he plays along with our qualities. Swami has explained that in the using the analogy of running with the bull. When the bull is running full speed, the Sadguru has no choice but to run along with the bull. We are that bull. And the Sadguru has no choice but to play along with our own bad qualities, where initially in the very initial phase, he allows our bad qualities. He does not object to our bad qualities. He does not say that our bad qualities are bad. In fact, he appears as if he is even encouraging our qualities, and that builds trust. When we develop enough trust upon him, then gradually he turns us towards the right direction. So initially you run along with the bull. When you have made good friends with the bull, then you gradually turn the bull around or make it stop or whatever you want to do. Then the bull will obey you because you have already made friends with the bull. Similarly, the Sadguru initially plays along with our bad qualities. He allows those qualities, even encourages those qualities. Doesn't make us feel guilty initially, although those qualities are not really good. But then once we develop trust in him, then gradually he turns us towards the right direction. So the reason Swami brought this in the previous verses, this concept, is because the discussion was about some female preachers who are attractive, physically who look attractive. They attract devotees. I mean, male devotees get attracted to them initially because of their physical beauty, not so much about the spiritual knowledge that they are teaching. But then gradually they are transformed due to the spiritual knowledge. Here we are assuming that the good-looking preacher is a follower of the Sadguru, that the knowledge that she is preaching is accurate knowledge, which has transformative power. If the knowledge is not accurate, if the knowledge has some defects, if the knowledge has not been acquired by that female preacher from a Sadguru, then it will not have that transformative power. And the audience or the devotees, they are not likely to get transformed. But if it has that transformative power, then they will get transformed. And an ancient example of devotees getting transformed through spiritual knowledge is the case of Ratnakar, the highway robber. And it was sage Narada, the Sadguru, whose knowledge forced him to transform himself. And there Swamiji said that the popular story that Ratnakar was transformed by repeating the name of the Lord, Rama, is false. He did not get transformed due to the mere mechanical repetition of the name of Rama. The reason he got transformed was that sage Narada forced him to inquire into the truth, the temporariness of the world, the inevitability of karma, the inevitability of the karma phala upon doing a certain karma, and then ultimately the greatness of God. Sage Narada taught him spiritual knowledge. In that spiritual knowledge, the inquiry about these things was included. He told Ratnakar to go back to his family, go back to his wife and children, and ask them if they are willing to share the bad fruit of his actions. He was a robber, he was doing sinful deeds. So, and the benefit that he obtained out of those sinful deeds, he was passing on that benefit to his family. So Narada Muni asked him, go back and ask your family. Are they willing to share the bad fruit? Are they willing to take part of the punishment on his behalf? And he went and asked them, and they said, no, it is your duty to feed us. How you feed us is not our problem. You can as well work hard somewhere and earn whatever honest sum of money you are able to earn, and we'll be happy with that. So the sinful deeds that you are doing, we have nothing to do with that. We are not going to bear the punishment for that. It appears here that the punishment is shared by all the people who are party or beneficiaries of the sin, but that is not true. It is not a sharing as in a division, but it is sharing in the sense of each person getting an equal punishment. So if you have harmed a certain person, and if the person, and as a result, you are supposed to face the punishment of 100 beatings, not only will you get 100 beatings, but all those people who supported, who defended you, who instigated you, all of them will get 100 beatings each. It is not that the 100 beatings of that is the punishment. It is not that the punishment is going to get divided among them so that each person gets only 25%. Each person who is party to it, who is a beneficiary of it, who has supported that sinful deed, gets individually the whole punishment. So anyway, the family refused, and then he realized the truth that karma is inevitable. Having done the karma phala, having done the deed, the fruit of the deed is inevitable. Number two, the sin is not going to be shared by my family. I am personally responsible for bearing the punishment. Third, this entire worldly exercise, which ultimately leads to sorrow, is really not worth it. What is really worth it and what is really precious in this life, which is worth dedicating my life to, that is God. And therefore, he did tapas. By tapas, it means he did the analysis. He did the analysis. He did jnana tapaha. That jnana tapa, as dictated by, as instructed by sage Narada, was transformative. Because sage Narada is one of the greatest devotees of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is Narayana. He is the abode of knowledge. And Narada Muni is the giver of that knowledge. So that knowledge, that divine knowledge, had that transformative power, which changed him into, from the highway robber, it changed him into one of the greatest sages of history. That is sage Valmiki, the author of the Ramayana. The original Ramayana was recorded by sage Valmiki, who was a contemporary of Lord Rama. All the other versions of the Ramayana, by Tulsidas, for instance, and many other saints and scholars have written the Ramayana, but none of them were contemporaries of Lord Rama. None of them actually were alive when Lord Rama was alive. And sage Valmiki, we know he was alive at that time because Sita and Lavakusha were in his ashram. So after Sita was left in the forest, she gave birth to the two sons of Lord Rama in the ashram of sage Valmiki. So he had kind of a first-hand experience. And of course, he had a divine vision given by God, and that is why he could write everything. Anyway, so that was the story of transformation. It is a story of how God initially allows the bad qualities. He does not disqualify us because of our bad qualities. And he ultimately channels us in the right direction over a period of time. So this same procedure is seen even in the Veda, the Karma Kanda part of the Veda, where you have a number of ritual sacrifices. They are also, essentially, they are part of the same technology where God initially allows the defects and later on turns the devotees in his direction. So let's read this verse. Apsaro yogamuddishya yajna karma vadashrutihi yajñarchanena tad brahma prapnoti kamavarjitah. Swami says, following the same principle, even the Veda says that if one performs Vedic rituals, that is yajnas, the performer will enjoy union with very beautiful heavenly dancers. Attracted by this Arthavada, the person performs Vedic rituals which take a long time. During this time, the performer of the Vedic rituals gets attracted to God Brahman. And that Brahman is referred to in those Vedic hymns as Indra, Agni, etc. In those Vedic hymns where the terms Indra, Agni, etc. are mentioned, they do not refer to a certain angel called Indra, a certain angel called Agni. Instead, they refer to God who is called Indra, God who is called Agni. And that derives from the etymology of these words. The word Indra comes from the root, the verbal root, Idi. Idi means Aishwarya. Aishwarya means control. The controller is Indra. Who is Indra? Indra is the controller. Then Agni, where the word Agni indicates he who is the first. And who is the first? God is the first. So God can be called Indra. God can be called Agni. Agreed. There is a separate angel called Indra. There is a separate angel called Agni. But they are not the ones we are worshipping in the yajna. We are worshipping God, that is Brahman, Parabrahman, who can also be called Indra, who can also be called Agni. And in fact, that is the primary meaning. In the Veda, that is the primary meaning. So, I'll repeat that sentence again. During this time, the performer of the Vedic rituals gets attracted to God Brahman, who is called as Indra, Agni, etc. The person's attention gets diverted from enjoying union with heavenly dancers, and his lust is destroyed. With this lust destroyed, he finally reaches God. So if you look at the Veda, a large portion of the Veda focuses on different rituals, different yajnas, where the host and his wife are supposed to carry out that ritual, elaborate rituals. There are those mantras, the hymns that are there. And each yajna is meant for getting a certain fruit. Usually, well, some of the fruits are getting some benefit or some divine boon here on earth. But there are some of those yajnas which aim at getting some benefit after death in heaven. When you go, it means, in other words, that upon doing that, you are going to go to heaven. And when you go to heaven, you are going to enjoy all the pleasures and the luxuries of heaven, including the apsaras that are available there. These apsaras are celestial nymphs, or these angelic beings who are very beautiful, and they are skilled in all different types of arts. So the person who is lustful, the earthly person who is lustful, he is eager to go to heaven because he really wants to enjoy with those apsaras. That initial defect is not treated as a disqualification. In the initial stage, God allows it. Does it mean that we should, even in the final stage, we should maintain that same desire for heavenly pleasures? No. In the initial step, God allows it, tolerates it, because God knows the transformative power of his divine knowledge. So he is not worried. Even if you approach God with defects, he is not concerned about that. He has the power. He is the omnipotent Lord. He knows that he can transform you with his divine knowledge. But he is not going to transform anyone and everyone. You have to be committed. as long as you are committed to the transformation. You should continue studying his knowledge. You should continue on the path indicated by him. If you do that, the transformation is certainly going to happen. So these people who are interested in those Vedic rituals so that they may enjoy heavenly pleasures, they may enjoy with the apsaras in the upper world, they continue doing those yajnas. A variety of yajnas are available. So they continue doing them throughout their lives. And at some point, they realize that because those hymns contain all the great qualities of God, they realize that, oh, I am chasing all these heavenly pleasures, but the real valuable and the real precious thing to be pursued is God himself. Initially, I am interested in those heavenly pleasures. I'm not interested in God. I'm using God as an instrument to achieve those worldly pleasures. How foolish I am. God is the greatest. I should not be worried about these foolish pleasures. I should be interested in God. When that realization comes, the person's interest in those heavenly pleasures slowly fades away. So initially the person is lustful, but gradually, due to the person's attraction towards God, as the attraction towards God goes on increasing, the lustfulness, the quality of lust in that person goes on reducing. Finally, the person reaches a stage where there is no lust anymore. He feels that whatever God has given me here on earth, I already have a wife over here. I am able to satisfy my lust. I don't need anything more. Why should I wait for those heavenly pleasures? After all, those heavenly pleasures are not greater than God. Why not I seek God himself? Why not I seek permanent association with God himself? When that realization comes, this person has transformed. And such a person then definitely reaches God, because then the person transitions from the worldly path, pravrutti dharma, to the spiritual path, which is nivrutti dharma. In pravrutti dharma, the person is interested in worldly pleasures. In nivrutti, the person is not interested in worldly pleasures. The person is interested in giving up all the worldly pleasures for the sake of God. He is interested in serving God. In order to serve God, he is ready to give up all the worldly pleasures. So that is the nivrutti path. And the person who follows that nivrutti path ultimately will, due to God's grace, will reach the goal. So in this, what we observe is that God is exploiting our weaknesses. We have weaknesses. We have bad qualities, negative qualities, sinful qualities. There are weaknesses. He is exploiting our weakness to pull us towards him. Our bad qualities become our assets. I remember some time ago, Swami had, in a very humorous way, he said that my only qualification in the spiritual path, Swami, we should not misunderstand when Swami says that. He says it in so that we should understand the lesson for ourselves. So Swami poses as if he is a devotee and that he has defects, so that we should understand the way we should think about ourselves. So Swami said that my only qualification on the spiritual path is that I am full of defects. My only good qualities are that I am full of defects. So that is our condition. We are full of defects. There is no reason why God should pick us, but God uses our defects to uplift us. How does he do that? Swami is giving an example in this very verse. So let's read the verse. Balahinam gunam krutva palam karshetti mim yatha yamo hinasti chodharo Guruna kriyate dvidha. The quality which is the weakness of the devotee is exploited to attract the devotee, just as the fish is caught using a piece of flesh attached to the hook. The fisherman, he attaches maybe a worm or some piece of meat to the fish hook, and that piece of meat attracts the fish in the water, and it grabs that, and then exploiting the fish's temptation for that piece of flesh, the fisherman catches the fish. So that essentially the attraction of that fish towards the flesh is being exploited by the fisherman. So on the one hand, I'm reading again, on the one hand, God Yama tortures souls caught in the trap of worldly attractions, just as the fisherman tortures the caught fish. On the other hand, using the same worldly attractions, the spiritual preacher uplifts souls. Thus, exploiting the same worldly attractions of the soul, both good and bad results are seen. So in the normal case where the spiritual preacher, the divine preacher, God in human form, is not in the picture, your bad qualities end up in you facing punishment and torture in hell. And who is the ruler of hell? It is Yama. So it is as if Yama is tempting you with all the temptations in life, which tempt you to do sinful actions. And then once you do the sinful actions, he punishes you, he beats you nicely in hell. So from one end, it is as if Yama is like the fisherman who attracts you with all these worldly temptations, which are like the piece of meat on the fish hook. And then he punishes you, tortures you. On the one hand, it appears Lord Yama doesn't have any interest in torturing you, by the way, but it is you who are attracted to all those worldly things. And then Yama is only trying to correct you because he's a disciple of God. But here, in a poetic way, Swami has written that normally when the spiritual preacher is not there in the picture, Yama tempts you with all these temptations and then punishes you, tortures you nicely in hell. But when the spiritual preacher, when God in divine form, God in human form, when he arrives, his method is also similar. He also uses your worldly temptations, your attractions to sinful worldly pleasures, to uplift you, not to torture you, to uplift you, to release you from the bondage of repeated torture, repeated birth and death. He uses the same temptations. So your weaknesses, that is your bad qualities, your sinful tendencies, your attractions to sinful things in life, at one end, they cause lot of torture to you. On the other hand, they also are the reason or the cause for your upliftment. What decides which way you are going to go? The Sadguru, the presence of the Sadguru is what decides the difference. If you have not surrendered to the Sadguru, if there is no Sadguru in your life, you will certainly not be able to control your temptations, your worldly temptations. You will certainly face punishment in hell because you will do those sinful actions. On the other hand, if you have surrendered to the Sadguru, he will certainly relieve you from that torture. That is why Lord Krishna says, Name bhakta pranashyati. He says that no matter how sinful you are, no matter how many sins you have done, if you just surrender to me, I will take care of all that. So that is the advantage of meeting the Sadguru, that is God in human form, in your own generation, and surrendering to him. You should recognize him. You should recognize him to be God. And then you should surrender to him. As part of the recognition process, you will learn spiritual knowledge. Some initial spiritual knowledge will convince you that he is God in human form. Then you continue learning spiritual knowledge from him. That recognition becomes deeper and it starts transforming you from within. You start getting more and more attracted to him. Initially, you just recognized that he is God. It doesn't mean that you were attracted to him. In order to develop that attraction, you should understand how great he is, how precious he is. There is nothing equal to him. When that value of God ripens in your mind, that is when it turns to devotion. And when you have that full devotion to him, that is total surrender. Once you surrender to him, he will naturally test you, whether you are just claiming to have surrendered to him or you have actually surrendered to him. And the testing requires you to prove your devotion in practice by service and sacrifice. If you prove that, then everything is achieved. Tyagat chantiranantaram. There is nothing required after that. So, surrendering to the Sadguru will definitely relieve you from all the worldly problems. He will liberate the person. No matter how many bad qualities you started off with, that doesn't matter, because all those, the pending sinful fruits or the pending fruits of sinful deeds, all of them will be put in cold storage, never to be opened as long as you remain devoted to him, as long as you remain on the righteous path. So such is the wonderful nature of God, and such is the wonderful techniques adopted by him to uplift us. Then at this point, Radha Devi asks a question. She says, Shri Radha Devi uvacha antarartham tavotsrujya kevalacharavartinaha pravrutistha api bhrashtaha pamarah kevalam nahi. Shri Radha Devi spoke, people do not understand the inner meaning of your actions. They simply follow your action without understanding the hidden intention behind it. By such actions, not only do ignorant people slip from the right path, but even the scholars of justice who stick to pravritti get spoiled. So here, Radha Devi is raising an important question. She says that now I understand that there is so much of background, so much of hidden background behind any action that you do. Whenever the human incarnation comes to earth and he enacts a certain divine drama for the upliftment of souls, his actions are not to be treated as ordinary actions. Behind every action, there is a huge divine background. All that is not revealed to us. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows it in its entirety. In fact, even those few people who come to know of it, they come to know only when he explains it to you. On your own, you're not capable of knowing it. So when such is the situation that there is so much of divine background, so much of excellent reasoning behind every action that you do, who is going to understand it? People are only going to look, particularly in the present age, the Kali age, where people are so superficial and where people do not have any commitment to righteousness, justice, or God. People are only going to look at the external action and then they are going to imitate. Whatever you do without thinking, people are just going to imitate that action. So how is it possible that people who simply observe your actions and imitate it will understand the truth behind it? So she is referring to his Rasa Krida, where he is romancing, he appears to be romancing with women. So she is saying that ignorant people are certainly going to get spoiled because they will simply imitate your actions. And we see in the world today, people have multiple boyfriends, multiple girlfriends. Uh, so our generation is already spoiled. So Radha Devi was speaking 5,000 years ago. That time has already come. We are already spoiled. And what she is saying is even the scholars of justice who usually stick to pravritti, they will also get spoiled because they will say, oh, I am sticking to dharma. I'm sticking to my married wife alone. But look at everybody. Everybody is having multiple boyfriends and girlfriends. And Lord Krishna himself had boyfriends, had so many girlfriends. So why am I denying myself? Why not I also enjoy? So such a thought may come even to the mind of the scholar who knows the Veda, who knows the Shastras, and who usually sticks to pravritti. Some doubt may come even to that person's mind. So she adds, she continues, she says, Janatepi kriya tattvam buddha indriya mohitaha viparitārthamakhyāya pateyuh pāpa karmani. Even though scholars will come to know the right essence of your actions due to your, I'm sorry, I'll read it again. Even though scholars will come to know the right essence of your actions due to their undefeated fascination towards their senses, they will establish the opposite wrong meaning and will certainly fall by doing sinful actions. So what she says is, even those scholars who have understood, who know Dharma Shastras, and even after they have understood the reason behind Lord Krishna's actions, they are likely to misinterpret it deliberately so that they can see, they have a fascination towards their senses. Everyone has a fascination towards their senses. The people who are scholars of the Veda, of the Shastras, they control their senses through their knowledge. But that fascination is still there. As long as that fascination is still there, they are very likely to be overcome by that fascination, looking at Krishna, because they're looking at his actions. They are likely to get tempted, and then they will take the wrong meaning. They'll twist the meaning, and then say that, see, when Krishna did it, I'm also doing it. Or they will say that, Krishna was detached when he did that. I'm also detached. I have 2, 3 girlfriends, but I'm also detached, just like Krishna. So they'll manage to twist it because the temptation is so much. They have fascination towards their senses. Then Lord Krishna replies to her. He says, Tvayoktam sadhu janami Radhe jnana saraswati Avatarair bhuvi prayo Sattatvam vivrunomyaham. God Shri Krishna spoke, O Radha, you are Goddess Saraswati in the view of your excellent knowledge. What you have said is perfectly correct. I know this point very well. Again and again, I descend to earth in the form of human incarnations and propagate the true essence of all my divine actions. So Lord Krishna is confirming what Shri Radha has said. And he says that that's absolutely true. People do misinterpret and people are likely to get misled. But he says that that is why I do not leave people alone. Because people are vulnerable to such misinterpretations and getting tempted, I always come in human form. And when I come, I reveal the true essence of my divine actions. So God repeatedly comes in every human age. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita had explained that he comes in every human generation. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Yuge yuge does not mean that he will come once in each one of the Chatur Yugas. That is not the meaning of yuge yuge. Yuga is an indefinite period of time. We can translate the word yuga into English as a period. What do you mean by a period? A period can be in academics. A period is 1 hour, or in some colleges it is 50 minutes. That is a period. Or it could be the Gupta period of few hundred years. So a period is an indefinite number. Similarly, the word yuga is an indefinite number. If you go to the Sanskrit dictionary and search for the word yuga, you will find several meanings for it. Yuga can also mean a single year. And in a recent video that got published on the channel, Swamiji has explained exactly this point, that even a year can be called a yuga. And the proof of that is that in Andhra Pradesh, in the Telugu language, the new year is called Ugadi. Ugadi is a distortion of the word Yugadi. Yuga Adi. It's the beginning of the yuga. So it proves that the word yuga is an indefinite period. It can mean one of the Chatur Yugas, or it could mean even 1 year. So when Lord Krishna says Sambhavami yuge yuge, which is to say that I will incarnate in each yuga, it simply means that I will be available at all times. In every human generation, I will be available. So let us interpret the yuga or the generation in this context to be a period of 60 years. Every 60 years he will come. Usually a generation is 20 years. But when a person comes in a certain generation, the people of that generation, then the people of the next generation and the previous generation, all of them get the benefit. So there are, for example, if the incarnation comes in your father's generation, your grandfather has seen him, and you, the son, has also seen him in the same generation. So when God comes as an incarnation once on earth, 3 generations simultaneously get benefited. So in this context, we can say that at least in a span of 60 years, God must come once. And we have seen evidence of that. In fact, God is not a miser. He comes more often than that. Even in a single generation, sometimes we have multiple human incarnations. It is not necessary, but there are cases where in a single generation, there are multiple human incarnations of God. The present time is one such time, where until very recently, we had Shri Sathya Sai Baba. At present, we have Shri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji, who is also an incarnation of Lord Datta. And we have our own Sadguru, Shri Datta Swami. So we have these 3 Datta incarnations and 3 complete Datta incarnations present in this present generation. So people who are on this Satsanga, most of them have seen Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Many of them have seen Shri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji. And of course, we have all seen our own Sadguru, Shri Datta Swami. So simultaneously, multiple incarnations are possible, but definitely, even if simultaneously multiple are not available, at least one will be available in a span of 60 years. So here some incarnations are given. If we just look at the Datta Sampradaya, or the chain of Datta incarnations, they are also many in number. We have starting from Shri Shripada Vallabha, Shri Narasimha Saraswati, Shri Manik Prabhu, Shri Swami Samartha, Shirdi Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba, Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji, and our Swamiji. So we have so many Datta incarnations who are well known to all of us. Apart from that, there are many more incarnations, because each of the energetic incarnations of God in the upper world can potentially incarnate on earth. For example, in this list, Shankaracharya is not present. Shankaracharya is not shown in this list, but he is an incarnation. He is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Okay, Lord Krishna, he is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Lord Rama is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu again. So many more incarnations are there. In every generation, there is some incarnation or the other. So how many exact number of incarnations are there? Nobody really knows. And the Bhagavatam explains that very clearly. It says, Avatara hyasankheya harehe. Of Hari, of the Lord, how many incarnations are there? They are asankhya, they are innumerable. Nobody knows the whole number. So definitely God comes again and again to correct us, to give us the right knowledge, to interpret his actions. Whatever actions, part of his divine plan, whatever actions he had done in the previous incarnation, the subsequent generation may misinterpret them. And that is why he comes and he corrects. He gives clarity to people who are in doubt, to people who have misinterpreted or who are likely to misinterpret. He always gives clarity. This point Lord Krishna told Radha Devi. Then he explains his point again through an analogy. He says, Shuchi badha krute vaidyaha kim dadati na chaushadham atma panka bhayat kimna pankamagnas samudhrataha. Will the doctor avoid injecting the patient with medicine just to avoid the pain caused by the needle of the injection? Will a strong and good person not jump into the mud pond to save somebody? Will he let the person drown in the mud pond due to his fear of his clothes getting spoiled by the mud? So what he is indicating is that for every good action, for every action in which God uplifts the soul, there is a possibility of people misunderstanding him, misinterpreting him, criticizing him, even attacking him. There is a possibility. He might be doing something in the best interest of people, but he will be misunderstood. But does that stop him from doing the necessary good action? Does that stop him from uplifting souls who are dear to him? The answer is no. The doctor has to inject the patient. If the patient needs an injection, the doctor has to give that injection to the patient. He cannot be afraid of the pain caused by the needle. Despite the pain, the doctor is going to do it. If someone is drowning in a mud pond, a good person will jump into the mud pot if he is a swimmer. If he is not a swimmer, he should not do it. So if he is a swimmer and he is a good person, he will jump into the mud pond. He will not mind his clothes getting spoiled. See, Lord Krishna himself, this is the time when Lord Krishna was in Vrindavanam, but then later on, when Lord Krishna went to Mathura and then Dwaraka, and when the Mahabharata war happened, Lord Krishna helped the Pandavas. The Pandavas were dear to him. They respected him greatly. They were also obedient to him. Since they were devoted to him, he helped them. He knew that when he was helping them, even while he was helping them, he knew very well the outcome, because he is omniscient. So he knew the outcome, that there is going to be a great war while the Pandavas were in Vanavasa, while they were in forest exile. That time also Krishna was in contact with them. And he knew that if I assist these people, ultimately there is going to be a huge battle. And in that war, millions of people are going to die. And ultimately, I am going to get the blame of everything. He knew that. Still, he helped. He knew that he would be misinterpreted. His actions will be misinterpreted. that he will be blamed for the genocide, for so many millions of people dying. At the end of the war, so the war did happen later on. At the end of the war, Gandhari, the mother of all the Kauravas, the mother of Duryodhana, she blamed Krishna. Dhritarashtra also in his mind must be blaming Krishna. But Gandhari, she pronounced a curse upon Krishna, saying that your entire dynasty will be destroyed. You are the one who is responsible. You knew everything. You had the power to control everything. But you let it happen. You allowed my sons to get killed, my entire family to get destroyed. So your entire dynasty should also be destroyed. That was the fulfillment of the punishment for his killing Vali. So he satisfied it was a two-in-one satisfaction, you know. One is that the punishment for killing Vali had to be avenged. So he needed to take the punishment of Vali's killing upon himself. And then he also needed to satisfy Gandhari's curse. So both he took upon himself. And he allowed his entire family to get destroyed, including himself. So at that great massacre that happened at Prabhasa, not only did his family, all his sons, and not only did all of them die, he also died over there. So he left his body to satisfy that curse. So you see that he did actions only to help others. There was no benefit to him in getting involved between in the fight between these two cousins, they were first cousins. So between these two cousins, Kauravas and the Pandavas, what did he gain? Did Dwaraka expand its territory? Did he get some wealth from them? He did not get anything. He lost everything, actually. He lost everything. Similarly, in uplifting the Gopikas, he gave liberation to the greatest sages that were ever born on earth. He gave liberation to them. And what did he benefit out of that? For the past 5,000 years, every generation has been blaming him. Everyone is calling Krishna a womanizer. He is taking that blame. Although he is the only celibate, according to the word of Lord Brahma, the only true celibate is Lord Krishna. That is what Lord Brahma knows. But what is the public saying? The ignorant public? The ignorant public, everyone is saying that Krishna is a womanizer. Krishna has so many girlfriends. Krishna is not reliable. Today he will be with one woman, tomorrow he will be with another woman. So he took that entire blame upon himself. So what he is asking Radha is, just because I know that people are going to blame me, will I stop doing good? They are my dear devotees. They have surrendered to me. You think I'm going to stop protecting them or stop uplifting them just because I know that they are going to blame me, others are going to blame me? No. So this is a very important lesson, because we understand the nature of God. God's nature is to sacrifice. And today we are going to hear a very moving story that happened very recently. Ms. Trailokya is going to share that story with us about what happened very recently, how Swami has demonstrated this very nature of self-sacrifice in that episode. So stay tuned for that. I'll pause over here. Pada Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Pada Namaskaram, Swami. I would like to share experience that is blessed by you, and the title of this narration is Swami's Love on His Topmost Devotee. Please let me know if I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. On a Friday morning, 24th July 2026, at 8 a.m., JSR Prasad sir was happily driving Swami and me to NIMS hospital for Swami's heart diagnostic test. None of us knew that this seemingly ordinary hospital visit would soon unfold into a living lesson on the unimaginable love of Swami for his devotees. For several months, Swami was actually suffering from serious indigestion problem, and he stopped taking food even if there was a trace of spice or sourness in it. During a recent visit to a gastroenterologist, the doctor advised that Swami should first undergo a heart examination before any further treatment. As we traveled to the hospital, Swami filled the car with laughter. Swami recalled a recent incident where a newly married male devotee offered a sweet called Sununda. It is Urad Dal Laddu for others, to Swami, and Swami had to suffer with stomach pain after eating it because he is suffering from digestion problem. Smilingly, Swami recalled that incident and joked. That devotee was supposed to eat those laddus, nourish himself to make his wife pregnant and give her the labor pains. Instead, he offered those laddus to me and gave all those pains to me. Both of us burst into laughter at Swami's humorous analogy. In the midst of this cheerful conversation, Swami casually remarked, Prasad Garu, I very well know that my heart is functioning well. I'm coming with you to the hospital because I want to exhaust some bad karma through this procedure. The statement slipped our attention unnoticed. The test was expected to be very routine and completed within a few hours. Moreover, it was common to see Swami quietly taking the sufferings of devotees upon himself. At that moment, none of us realized the profound meaning hidden behind his words. When we reached the hospital, Funny Sir and Swati Akka were waiting to receive Swami from the parking area and escorted him to the nuclear medicine department on the first floor. Funny Sir had already spoken with the floor manager and arranged Swami's appointment as the first appointment so that Swami wouldn't have to wait for a long time. We sat in the waiting area for some time, and Swami was cracking jokes continuously, making everyone laugh. At one point, Swami said, in this Kali age, we should never blindly trust two professions, doctors and lawyers. Both of them are at a loss when our problems are solved. So they make sure our problems are never solved so that we become their regular customers and permanent supporters of their business. Swami also told a Sanskrit verse about the doctors. Vaidya Raja Namastubhyam, Yamaraja Sahodara, Yamastu Harati Pranan, Tvantu Pranan Dhananicha. O doctor, my humble salutations to you. You are truly the brother of Yama, the god of death. The only difference is that Yama merely takes away life, but you are so talented that you manage to take away both life and wealth. The waiting room echoed with laughter. Soon, we were called inside the scanning area where it is maintained at extremely low temperature to protect the diagnostic equipment. The doctor checked the vitals of Swami and asked us to wait. Almost 20 minutes passed, but they were not calling us inside. Funny Sir gave his jacket to Swami to protect him from the cold and went out to speak with the manager who promised zero wait time. Swami looked at me and asked if I carried my laptop with me. I nodded my head and opened it. Sitting in such a cold atmosphere, Swami started to dictate the Sanskrit verses in the last chapter of the book, Shri Radha Gita, along with their English meanings. The patients and doctors sitting around us looked at us in wonder. One of the patients heard the knowledge for just 10 minutes and did Pada Namaskaram to Swami's feet by offering some money as Guru Dakshina. Swami appreciated, saying that it is that soul's samskara, strong quality to sacrifice for God. God always blesses devotees with practical boons only, because God is the reflection of the devotee. While patient Swami sat peacefully, composing sacred spiritual knowledge. The sight was astonishing. Eventually, Swami was called inside. By then, Swami had already dictated 4 verses and their meanings as well. The doctor pierced an intravenous needle on the backside of Swami's hand, the opposite side of the palm. He put a medical tape to secure the needle so that it would not move. Then he did the same thing to Swami's other hand and injected a prerequisite medicine into both hands, saying that the scanning report would become clearer with this injection. The doctor also told that this injection would be active only for 30 minutes and prescribed us to urgently purchase 12 bottles of a medicine that is to be injected within those 30 minutes. Funny sir grabbed the prescription and ran to the medical store on the ground floor, only to discover that the medicine was unavailable. He and Prasad sir rushed to the parking area and started their cars to search in different directions. After tremendous effort, Funny sir finally returned carrying all 12 bottles. But another difficulty arose. The doctor refused to proceed because all 12 bottles were not from the same manufacturer. If we failed to bring the medicine within 10 minutes, the doctor said he had to inject the prerequisite medicine again to extend the activity for another 30 minutes. Once again, Funny sir rushed out in search of the correct stock. Throughout this tension filled situation, Swami remained completely calm, continuing to dictate more Sanskrit verses and their meanings. At last, the required medicine was obtained and the doctors began the first phase of the procedure. With needles fixed on both his hands, Swami found it very difficult to even get up from the seat. The procedure consists of 3 phases. In the first and third phases, the heart is scanned under normal conditions. In the second phase alone, the heart is scanned in stressful conditions. They completed the first phase and asked us to feed Swami with some oily food along with soda and make him walk for some time before coming for the second phase. So we came out of the department and moved to the parking area. Swati Akka lovingly prepared some home cooked vadas and offered them to Swami. Since Swami was unable to use his hands due to the IV needles, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Am I audible?
yes.
Yeah, thank you. So
Sure, Amma.
I'll continue from procuring the medicines. Okay, fine, fine. I'll read it from there. Okay, at last. Huh? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm not using the Wi-Fi now. I'm using the my mobile data now.
Okay.
Hello, Anna, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. At last, the required medicine was obtained and the doctors began the first phase of the procedure. With needles fixed on both his hands, Swami found it very difficult to get up from the seat. The procedure consists of 3 phases. In the first and third phases, the heart is scanned under normal conditions. In the second phase, the heart is scanned in stressful conditions. Is it audible now?
Yes, clear, clear.
Clear, right? Okay. Thank you. Please interrupt me as and when a voice breaks.
Okay.
Doctors completed the first phase and asked us to feed Swami with some oily food along with soda and make him walk for some time before coming for the second phase. So we came out of the department and moved to the parking area. Swati Akka lovingly prepared home-cooked vadas and offered them to Swami. Since Swami was unable to use his hands due to the IV needles, I got the privilege to feed him with my hands while he sat in the car. Since Swami has the habit of sipping water while eating, Funny Sir was gently offering water to his mouth from the other side. After offering some soda, Funny Sir took Swami for a walk and asked us to finish our lunch so that one of us could replace him while he took the meal. Everything seemed completely normal until then, and suddenly everything changed. As I finished my meal, Funny Sir came running towards the car, asking urgently for his jacket. Looking outside, I was surprised. The afternoon sun was shining brightly and the weather was warm. Why would Swami need a jacket? When I rushed to him, I saw a sight that shook my heart. Swami was shivering uncontrollably as though he was standing in freezing temperatures far below 0 degrees. Yet somehow a gentle smile still rested upon his face. Looking at me compassionately, he said through the shivering, "Do not worry. The medicine has been overdosed. I am fine. I simply cannot control this shivering." Though his words reassured us, the intensity of his suffering was frightening. I took a peaceful breath and started rubbing his back to generate heat. Just then, Swami said, "I need to use the bathroom. Please take me to the toilets." We looked around, but we did not see any way to the toilets. Since none of us was a regular visitor to that hospital, we had no idea where the toilets were. Someone guided us to go to the nearest visible building, and we would definitely find toilets on its first floor. We gently supported Swami to walk towards the building, but regretted that we needed to cross a very long corridor to reach the toilets. Swami was constantly losing his energy and becoming weaker and weaker as we advanced. After using the toilets, Swami sat on a chair. His shivering reached the state of climax intensity and he was unable to even talk properly. Although he was using up all his leftover energy to say something to us, the shivering of his mouth was so much that we were unable to figure out what he was saying. We realized that we must take Swami to the doctor who injected him with the 12 doses of that medicine. But that building was not closed. Here, Swami is too weak to even talk. So Prasad sir rushed to find a wheelchair, but due to the heavy crowd in the hospital, not a single wheelchair was available anywhere. Swami was trying to get up and walk, but we understood that his weakness prevented him from taking even one step forward. Immediately, Funny Sir and I positioned ourselves on either side of Swami, placed his hands on our shoulders for support, and carried him back to the Department of Nuclear Medicine. Swami was not willing to enter the scanning area since it is always maintained at a low temperature. The doctors came out, checked the vitals of Swami, and gave an injection to him, assuring us that Swami would come to normal condition in some time. We took him to a room close by the waiting area. but there was no bed to lie down. With extreme helplessness, we arranged a three-seater bench and Swami slept on it. Swati Akka and Prasad sir. Swati Akka and Prasad sir searched across the department and brought two bed sheets to cover Swami. The three of us positioned ourselves around Swami and started rubbing his feet, back, and upper arms. Swami was finding it difficult to lie down on the narrow bench with needles fixed on both his hands and intense shivering in his body. I wish I had not existed to see Swami like that. Swami was shivering so intensely that while we were trying to hold him, our hands were shaking from the force of his body. Swami's suffering before our eyes was unbearable. Swami closed his eyes and we continued to provide warmth. After some time, Swami opened his eyes and said that he wants to go to the toilet. Unfortunately, that is not nearby, and Swami had no energy to even stand or walk. Pani sir and Prasad sir positioned themselves on either sides of Swami and walked him to the restroom. Then Swami came back and slept on the wooden bench again. Such trips to the toilets happened multiple times, and his energy was draining more and more. Then came another painful moment. After a few hours, suddenly Swami sat by himself and began vomiting. Prasad sir opened his two hands and put in front of Swami's mouth so that the vomit would not fall on Swami's clothes. Watching this scene filled my heart with overwhelming emotions. Following Prasad sir, even Swati Akka and Fani sir did the same. Although their hands were full of vomit, they remained focused only on serving Swami. We started running to the restroom to clean our hands and coming back to Swami to attend him. Swami did not like us touching his vomit and started shouting at us to stay away from him. None of us acknowledged that and continued to clean Swami's clothes and surroundings. Although we tried our best, Swami's clothes were spoiled. I started cleaning Swami's face and chest while Fani sir started washing Swami's upper clothes and others were cleaning the floor. Due to excess love on us, Swami was feeling irritated and angry that we happened to do the cleaning work. Then Swami again rested on the bench. Watching him suffer, we just could not tolerate Swami's infinite true love on us. Swami is none other than our contemporary human incarnation of God, and he is suffering our sins only. Still, he owns our sins and frames us as good people, although we are only capable of making mistakes and sins. Nobody can love a soul like God. My mind overflowed with questions. Why should the Supreme God take a human birth and suffer like this for our sake? When the angels in the upper worlds serve him in perfection and love him truly without selfishness, why can't he just stay there? Why is he still not giving up hope on human beings? Why should I continue to live when I cannot provide my Swami even a second of relief? Why can no amount of service repay even a fraction of his love? In the midst of all these thoughts, one realization struck my mind suddenly. The greatest love of any soul can offer is only a drop, while the love of God is an infinite ocean. I controlled myself and sat there. Gradually, the shivering reduced, but the weakness still remained. Doctors fixed saline to Swami and suggested that he should complete the second phase of the scanning procedure in an hour. What it meant was that Swami would have to sleep in a room with a very low temperature for 20 minutes with a single layer of clothes. We did not agree to it. But Swami said he was willing to complete that procedure. Although he did not have the energy to walk on his own, he insisted us to take him to that scanning room. We carried him there and doctors started the procedure for the second phase. For more than 20 minutes, he endured the severe cold with all willingness. There was no trace of complaint, only determination, acceptance, and sacrifice. After the procedure, the doctors informed us that he would need to return the next morning again for the final phase. Though his face clearly showed complete exhaustion, Swami calmly promised that he would return. We realized that he was deliberately taking the suffering again and again. Then we walked Swami out of the department and Funny Sir went to get his car to take Swami home. While sitting near the parking area, Swati Akka and Funny Sir did Padanamaskaram to Swami before leaving. Swami turned towards Funny Sir and asked, Funny, do you remember that I promised you that you would come back safely from your trip to Kailash Manav Sarovar, which is planned next week? Funny Sir said, Yes, Swami. My mind recalled the incident when this conversation happened. A week ago, Funny Sir was very ill and he was speaking on the phone with Swami like this. Swami, I am not willing to go to the Kailash trip that is planned after 2 weeks. With my worsening health conditions, I don't think I will survive such harsh cold conditions and come back alive. I might go to the real Kailash from that Kailash mountain. Although I want to withdraw myself from the trip, my only concern is that I would lose the 2 lakh rupees I have paid for this trip already. It is non-refundable. If you ask me to drop, I will not go to the trip without a second thought. Swami replied, Funny, I promise you that I won't let anything happen to you. You will stay healthy during the trip and come back safely. Go ahead with your trip. This was the conversation that happened in the past. Currently, sitting on the platform, Swami continued to speak with Funny Sir like this. Funny, I'm standing by my promise. I preponed all your suffering of cold temperatures in the higher altitudes that was supposed to happen to you on your trip and suffered it on my own body completely. For other devotees, I will take 90% suffering on myself and leave 10% to them. In your case, I took it 99.99% since you are my topmost devotee. Now you can happily go to your trip. Listening to this, Funny Sir felt very emotional and told, Swami, you could have told me to drop. Why should you take it all? I will not even go to the trip. It is not important at all. Then Swami replied, I am very much attracted to money, you know. I cannot let your 2 lakh rupees go waste. If you don't go, my suffering for you will also get wasted along with your money. So don't waste both. Then Funny Sir commented, of course, you are very much attracted to money, who is goddess Mahalakshmi, since you are God Vishnu, her husband. Yet behind this humor was a truth so profound that it touched every heart. Just then, Prasad Sir arrived in his car. Swami and I got into the car and we started our journey. But the journey home was equally difficult. Swami repeatedly needed restroom breaks and vomited several times. When Swami said that he had to use toilet, we were actually in the middle of the road in heavy traffic of Jubilee Hills. The richest people in the city live there. I asked Prasad Sir to stop near a jewelry shop and ran to the watchman, asking him to show us the way for nearby toilets. Initially, he was not willing to help since we were not the customers, and his owner would scold him if he entertains middle class people like us. I begged him, telling him that we were coming from the hospital. Other people on the road were shouting at Prasad sir to move his car, but sir was helping Swami to get down from the car. The situation was so critical that he had no time to explain anything to anyone. The watchman finally agreed and took us to the toilets. After using the toilet, Swami had some water and boarded the car again. Within 5 minutes, he vomited even that water. When some water accidentally splashed onto the car window after he vomited, Swami apologized to Prasad sir and even tried to clean it himself by pouring water on the window. Despite unbearable weakness, his concern remained for others. Such was the purity and humility of Swami. Prasad sir was overwhelmed and said, Swami, I myself am your property. This car is just inert and it is your car. Please don't say sorry. I feel more pained. Kindly take rest. Then Swami kept on adjusting his position of sitting on the seat and sleeping on my lap repeatedly to be at ease. Nothing was comfortable for a long time. After some time, we reached Prasad sir's home. Swami just fell on the bed and closed his eyes. He started sweating, and hence we put the AC. After every 30 minutes, he asked us to change the temperature of AC, and finally by midnight, he came to normal condition and the gradual recovery finally began. The next day, he woke up at 6 a.m., 6 a.m. exactly, and slowly walked into the washroom with the support of walls. When I rushed to him to give help, I was overwhelmed to see that he was trying to wash his clothes that were spoiled the previous day. I just could not believe my eyes since he was trying to wash his clothes in water with needles still fixed on both his hands. I begged Swami to leave that to me and he finally agreed. No human being will even think of doing one's own work in such unbearably difficult situations. Every action of Swami proved that he is divine and beyond human nature. Later, Swami completed even the third phase of heart examination and returned home. As foretold by Swami, all the reports came very normal. Meanwhile, Fani sir proceeded with his Kailash Manas Sarovar pilgrimage with other devotees. When sir phoned to Swami before boarding the flight, Swami told, Fani, do not eat potatoes and never bathe with cold water. My body is currently bearing the maximum possible suffering and it cannot bear more than this. You must be really cautious. Listening to this, a few devotees were deeply pained. One devotee asked Swami why he allowed the devotees to go on the Kailash trip when Swami himself preached multiple times that real pilgrimage means reaching God. When Swami himself preached multiple times that real pilgrimage means reaching God by attaining true spiritual knowledge from the Sadguru. Swami replied, I am not responsible for the actions done by any devotee since every devotee has the free will to do anything. Swami only preaches the truth and it is up to the devotee whether to follow the preaching or not. Swami continued, generally my devotees go for pilgrimage trips using their travel allowances paid by their employers. If they don't use the opportunity, the benefits gets wasted. So I encourage them not to waste the money allotted to them. When the devotees approached me asking that they want my blessings to go for this Kailash trip, they did not mention the heavy charges they were paying for it. So I blessed them to proceed. Then the devotee asked, Swami, you are omniscient. You know everything. Then Swami replied, omniscience is also a power. I don't use my power without necessity. It is demonic nature to exhibit powers even without any need. Divinity is always opposite to demonism. Over the next week, Swami was constantly monitoring the health of Funny Sir and reminding him to be cautious about his health. One day, Funny Sir phoned to inform that he was reaching the higher altitudes the next day. That very evening, Swami again started suffering from dehydration and vomiting, although he ate very soft food. Generally, at higher altitudes, reduced blood flow to the stomach leads to gastric irritation and vomitings. The cold and dry air causes faster fluid loss, causing dehydration. Even on the day when Sir started his return journey down the hill, the same weakness and digestive stress were observed in Swami. The divine connection was impossible to ignore. After returning from the trip, Funny Sir came to Swami with a bottle of holy water filled from Manas Sarovar. Looking at it, Swami smiled and joked. By spending 2 lakh rupees, you finally managed to bring one small bottle of H2O. Then Swami lovingly explained a deeper spiritual truth. The same 5 elements are present everywhere. Science is the authority of items in this world. The water present anywhere in this entire world is the same H2O. Pilgrimage means travel to God, but God does not exist in a statue or in a particular place. A statue is a representative model of God and not the incarnation of God that can clarify all your spiritual doubts. Previously, devotees in every temple were immersed in the spiritual knowledge of scholars present there. The spiritual knowledge means devotion or attachment to God, due to which only salvation from worldly bonds is possible. This is the inner meaning of getting salvation through pilgrimage. Hence, there is no use of pilgrimage if the spiritual knowledge is not attained in it. Pilgrimage without attaining spiritual knowledge is just a picnic. Swami continued, instead of wasting time, money, and energy in such picnics, one can divert them to the service of God and attain His grace. Even if you stay in your house, worshipping God in your own prayer room to develop your theoretical devotion and getting the true spiritual knowledge from the preachings of a Sadguru, you will get salvation from worldly bonds even in your home. In the pilgrimage, there are several health problems and viral infections. Even if one takes all the risks, there is no trace of spiritual benefit in any pilgrimage, because one can get the highest benefit of spiritual fruit just by staying in the house. The highest spiritual benefit is Brahmaloka, or the abode of God. The most astonishing fact is that the poor, illiterate Gopikas sitting in their house at Vrindavanam attained Goloka, which is higher than the highest fruit called Brahmaloka. Funny Sir agreed to the points told by Swami and said that he still needs rest to recover from exhaustion and fever. A week later, Swami happily told me that his health had become excellent. He also ate some heavy fried foods that evening, but did not get any stomach pain the next day. I was surprised to see him that way and felt very happy that his suffering came to an end. Then Swami gave me a logical argument. Quotations. I told everyone that I am taking the suffering that belongs to Funny. Until now, I was suffering and Funny was healthy. Currently, my health is excellent. Let us phone to Funny and ask about his health. If I am healthy and Funny is still suffering with illness, it means that I was lying all this while. Saying so, Swami phoned to Funny sir and asked, Funny, how is your health? Immediately, Funny sir said, Excellent Swami, my health is excellent now. The same word excellent was told by Funny sir as mentioned by Swami about his health. With this, Swami proved that God suffers for his devotees by taking unimaginable suffering onto his own body because his love on his devotees is unimaginable. What greater proof can there be of the love of God? Human love is limited and temporary. Divine love goes beyond all limits and it is permanent. Human love selfishly asks for something in return. Divine love is full of sacrifices. This sacred experience revealed a timeless truth that the love of God for his devotees cannot be measured, explained, or compared. It can only be witnessed with gratitude, tears, and wonder. Swami once again showed that when a devotee surrenders with faith, God does not merely bless from a distance. He walks beside them, carries their burdens, bears their pain, and protects them with a love that is truly infinite. Thank you, Swami. At your divine lotus feet, Trilokya.
Very good. Very good. You can proceed next.
Pada Namaskaram, Swami. We shall start the Bhakti Ganga now.
Okay.
अत्रियं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायणं सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं गुरुं इन्दिरामन्दिरं पार्वतीनायकं भारतीवल्लभं धर्मधेन्वाश्रयम् शङ्खचक्रान्वितं शूलढक्काधरं पात्रमालाकरं प्राणनाथं भजे अत्रियं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायणं सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं गुरुम् पावनैरागवै सारमेयायितै पादपद्मावृतै मन्त्रमन्द्रस्वरै सञ्चलभिषणै सञ्चलन्तं प्रभुम् त्र्याननं षट्करं योगिराजं भजे अत्रिजं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायणं सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं गुरुम् केवलं निर्गुणं मूर्तिभूतं जगदृष्टिरक्षालया धारहेतोस्त्रिध अत्रिणा प्रार्थितं युक्तमूर्तित्रयं दृष्टमेकं पुनः तन्त्रिमूर्त्याननम् अत्रियं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायणं सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं गुरुम् दत्तदेवं गुरुम् मातृभावानसुत्या कृते गर्भजं दृष्टबालत्रयं युक्तमेकं सकृत् ब्रह्मचर्यं व्रतं दण्डपाणिं वटुं तापसैः प्रस्थितं वृद्धशिष्यैर्भजे अत्रियं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायण सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं गुरुम् हंसवाहं क्वचे पक्षिराड्वाहनम् నందినా వాగ్వజే సంచరంతం విభుం నాస్తికానాం మతం నాశయంతం సదా పండితా ఖండలం తౌమి యోగీశ్వరం అత్రిజం శంకరం బ్రహ్మనారాయణం సర్వదేవాత్మకం దత్తదేవం గురుం దత్తదేవం గురుం దత్తదేవం గురుం. కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం దత్తసేవక రక్షణార్థం ప్రార్థయామో బద్ధదీక్షం దత్తసేవక రక్షణార్థం ప్రార్థయామో బద్ధదీక్షం కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం దత్తభక్త విరోధిమారం నామశేషిత దైత్యశూరం దత్తభక్త విరోధిమారం నామశేషిత దైత్యశూరం ఆయుధానాం ఏకవీరం ధ్వస్తత్రిజగ దహంకారం ఆయుధానాం ఏకవీరం ధ్వస్తత్రిజగ దహంకారం కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం లోకభాండ విభేదదక్షం దుష్టశిక్షణ శిష్టపక్షం లోకభాండ విభేదదక్షం దుష్టశిక్షణ శిష్టపక్షం సృష్టిచక్ర పరిభ్రమాక్షం సర్వరాక్షస జాతిరూక్షం సృష్టిచక్ర పరిభ్రమాక్షం సర్వరాక్షస జాతిరూక్షం కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం వేదపురుష పాణినీతం దత్తదేవ కటాక్షపూతం వేదపురుష పాణినీతం దత్తదేవ కటాక్షపూతం జీవకర్మ విపాకపాతం గర్వితాసుర హృదయఘాతం జీవకర్మ విపాకపాతం గర్వితాసుర హృదయఘాతం కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం కాలభైరవ కాలదండం కంపతర్జిత బ్రహ్మాండం దత్తసేవక రక్షణార్థం ప్రార్థయామో బద్ధదీక్షం దత్తసేవక రక్షణార్థం ప్రార్థయామో బద్ధదీక్షం ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. వందనీయం విష్ణు చక్రం వారణార్థం ఛిన్ననక్రం వందనీయం విష్ణు చక్రం వారణార్థం ఛిన్ననక్రం ఖండితాసుర వృత్తివక్రం రక్షితామర లోకశక్రం ఖండితాసుర వృత్తివక్రం రక్షితామర లోకశక్రం వందనీయం విష్ణు చక్రం వారణార్థం ఛిన్ననక్రం ఆశ్రితామర భాగధేయం విక్రమోజ్వలమప్రమేయం ఆశ్రితామర భాగధేయం విక్రమోజ్వలమప్రమేయం ఆగమాంతర మంత్రగేయం శ్రీ సుదర్శన నామధేయం ఆగమాంతర మంత్రగేయం శ్రీ సుదర్శన నామధేయం వందనీయం విష్ణు చక్రం వారణ వారణార్థం చిన్ననక్రం కార్తవీర్య మహావతారం చోరదండన లోకచారం కార్తవీర్య మహావతారం చోరదండన లోకచారం ధారయాహృత భూమిభారం విద్యుదుజ్వల వల్లిహారం ధారయాహృత భూమిభారం విద్యుదుజ్వల వల్లిహారం వందనీయం విష్ణుచక్రం వారణార్థం చిన్ననక్రం వందనీయం విష్ణుచక్రం వారణార్థం చిన్ననక్రం మాధవాంగుళి నాభిసారం దత్తభక్త విపత్తిపరం మాధవాంగుళి నాభిసారం దత్తభక్త విపత్తిపరం అష్టసిద్ధి మహత్వపూరం శత్రుకర్తన కోటిహీరం అష్టసిద్ధి మహత్వపూరం శత్రుకర్తన కోటిహీరం వందనీయం విష్ణుచక్రం వారణార్థం చిన్ననక్రం వందనీయం విష్ణుచక్రం వారణార్థం చిన్ననక్రం కాళకాళకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః కాళకాళకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః ప్రళయకాల భయానకోగ్రం విద్యుదగ్ని వివర్షణాగ్రం ప్రళయకాల భయానకోగ్రం విద్యుదగ్ని వివర్షణాగ్రం కాళకాళకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః కాళకాళకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః రాక్షసాధమ భస్మశేషం రావణస్తవ వక్త్రఘోషం రాక్షసాధమ భస్మశేషం రావణస్తవ వక్త్రఘోషం మన్మథాకృతి దాహరోషం త్రివిధ కర్మ ఫలాగ్రవేశం మన్మథాకృతి దాహరోషం త్రివిధ కర్మ ఫలాగ్రవేశం కాళకాళకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః కాళకాళకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః దత్తసేవక శత్రునాశం ఖండితాత్మ ప్రతిఫలాశం దత్తసేవక శత్రునాశం ఖండితాత్మ ప్రతిఫలాశం పాతితాంతక జగదధీశం ధూతభీకర కాలపాశం పాతితాంతక జగదధీశం ధూతభీకర కాలపాశం కలకాలకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః కలకాలకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః ఉజ్వలజ్వలదగ్నిజాలం కౌరవాణం మరణలోలం పార్థదృశ్యం గరళనీలం వ్యాసబోధాత్ విదితలీలం పార్థదృశ్యం గరళనీలం వ్యాసబోధాత్ విదితలీలం కలకాలకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః కలకాలకరాళశూలం కామితార్థం కల్పయేన్నః
సృజంతం శాసంతం సంహరంతం జగంతి సంతతం చింతయే శ్రీదత్తం తం యోగ విద్యా సత్యసారం బోధయంతం సత్యదర్శనలాలసాన్ ఆకర్షయంతం మానవేభ్యో మానవాకృతి ప్రవతరంతం అష్టసిద్ధిభిः రాస్తికత్వం ప్రతిష్టాపయంతం సృజంతం శాసంతం సంహరంతం జగంతి సంతతం చింతయే శ్రీదత్తంతం.
మూషికన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల ధౌతదంతాయతే చారునృత్యాయతే విఘ్నరాజాయతే శ్రీపార్వతీ ప్రాణపుత్రాయ వందనం సిద్ధిబుద్ధి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం దక్షక్రతున్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోలతీక్ష్ణఖడ్గాయతే శ్మశ్రువక్త్రాయతే వీరభద్రాయతే శ్రీకాళికా ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం శ్రీకాళికా ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం క్రౌంచాచలన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల శక్తిభల్లాయతే షణ్ముఖాబ్జాయతే తారకాంతాయతే వల్లీశ్వరీ ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం వల్లీశ్వరీ ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం శ్రీశైలవిన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల కాలశూలాయతే ఫాలనేత్రాయతే భస్మవక్త్రాయతే భ్రమరాంబికా ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం భ్రమరాంబికా ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం శబరిగిరిన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల మంత్రమాలాయతే హరిహరాంశాయతే సుమణికంఠాయతే శ్రీమోహిని ప్రాణపుత్రాయ వందనం శ్రీమోహిని ప్రాణపుత్రాయ వందనం సప్తశైలన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల కేళిపద్మాయతే పద్మనేత్రాయతే పద్మవక్త్రాయతే పద్మాసతి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం పద్మావతి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం ప్రాచేదిశిన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల శుక్లవేదాయతే అరుణబింబాయతే సూర్యదేవాయతే ఛాయాసతి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం ఛాయాసతి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం గోవర్ధనన్యస్తపాదపద్మాయతే వామహస్తాలోల చక్రవేగాయతే మకుటపింఛాయతే మధురవంశాయతే రాధాసతి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం రాధాసతి ప్రాణనాథాయ వందనం साकेतविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोलचारुचापायते सत्यवाक्यायते धर्मरूपायते सीता सती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं सीता सती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् आकाशविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल भूरिशैलायते रामकार्यायते भीमवीर्यायते सुवर्चला प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं सुवर्चला प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् यज्ञान्तरन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल होमपात्रायते सप्तजिह्वायते द्रव्यवाहायते स्वाहा सति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं स्वाहा सति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् ऐरावतन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल हेतिवज्रायते स्वर्गनाथायते देवराजायते शची सती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं शची सती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् क्षीरार्णवन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल नागपाशायते विष्णुतल्पायते शेषदेवायते नागेश्वरी प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं नागेश्वरी प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् वैकुण्ठविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल पूर्णकुम्भायते विष्णुवाहायते गरुडराजायते विनताम्बिका प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनं विनताम्बिका प्राणपुत्राय वन्दनम् ब्रह्माण्डविन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल कालपाशायते दत्तदूतायते भैरवाख्यायते माया सती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनं माया सती प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् सह्यशैलन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल बीजमालायते अरुणवस्त्रायते योगिराजायते अनघासति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् अनघासति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् अनघासति प्राणनाथाय वन्दनम् विजयपुरिन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोल वेदशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम्
तृप्तास्मः मातः तृप्तास्मः मधुसूदनसति मङ्गलवती वात्सल्यामृतहर्षवर्षिणि रुक्मिणी वनमालि मनोवासिनी वन्दे विदर्भनन्दिनी वासुदेवानन्दसुन्दरी तृप्ता स्मः मातः तृप्ता स्मः अस्माकं सदने चरति तव चञ्चलकिङ्किणीकचरणे सन्ततचिन्तामणिगण सन्तानदायिनि का चिन्ता तृप्ता स्मः मातः तृप्ता स्मः मधुसूदनसति मङ्गलवति तृप्ता स्मः मातः तृप्ता स्मः वेदनायक दत्ता पादमाश्रये आश्रितप्राणिनां सज्जः खादिताखिलखेदं ज्ञानप्रदानेन हृदयमेदुदितमोदं न्यासमात्रेणैव नाशितनास्तिकवादं नखकान्तिकिरणैः अनाद्यविद्याभेदं वेदनायक दत्ता पादमाश्रये वेदनायक दत्ता पादमाश्रये वेदनायक दत्ता पादमाश्रये
दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च कोटि कोटि घट सुधा पानन्नु कोटि कोटि महती श्रवणन्नु कोटि कोटि घट सुधा पानन्नु कोटि कोटि महती श्रवणन्नु दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च कियन्नु रम्यं तव सौन्दर्यं कोटि कोटि मदनानां रूपं कियन्नु रम्यं तव सौन्दर्यं कोटि कोटि मदनानां रूपं दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च कियन्नु ते सौरभमामोहः कोटि कोटि कमलानां गन्धः कियन्नु ते सौरभमामोहः कोटि कोटि कमलानां गन्धः दत्तात्रेया दत्तात्रेय कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च 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 कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च कियन्नु मधुते नाम वचश्च दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति ब्रह्मर्षिर्वा देवो वा स्यात् दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति पूर्णविनोदं चण्डालं च दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति ब्रह्मर्षिर्वा देवो वा स्यात् दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति परमकठोरं बाह्याकारं करुणासागरमन्तःसारं निन्दास्तोत्रैरलिप्तमेकं क्रीडयन्तमिह कृतावतारं दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति ब्रह्मर्षिर्वा देवो वा स्यात् दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति दत्तं छिन्नं मूढा एवं वदन्ति लोके मायाबन्धाः सर्वे छिन्नाः तदीयदृष्ट्या कैवल्याय दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति ब्रह्मर्षिर्वा देवो वा स्यात् दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति धर्मबद्धमपि धर्मातीतं ज्ञानानन्दं रसस्वरूपं कर्मणि मग्नं न कर्मबद्धं कर्मफलानां दातारन्तं दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति ब्रह्मर्षिर्वा देवो वा स्यात् दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति दत्तात्रेयं 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 को जानाति दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति दत्तात्रेयं को जानाति। धरती पर भक्तों के तुम हो उद्धारक, भक्तों के कष्टों के तुम हो निवारक, जीवों के भरता तुम ही हो मेरे पालक, जगत गण हूँ मैं और तुम जग संचालक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
सृष्टि स्थिति लयकारी तुम दत्ता अवतारी, तुम्हारी लीला स्वामी जग से है न्यारी, काषाय वस्त्रों में दत्त त्रिपुरारी, तुम्हारी महिमा गाए हम सब नर नारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
त्रिगुणों के मालिक कर त्रिगुणों को धारण, स्वयं ही सिखाए ज्ञान भक्ति समर्पण, तेरे रमणार्थ सदा यत्न निरंतर, तुम्हारी सेवा में ही मैं रहूं सदा तत्पर।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
वेदों के कर्ता तुम ही वेदों के रक्षक, तुमसे ही वेदों का अस्तित्व अब तक, वेदों के वचन हो तुम में ही सार्थक, तुम बिन स्वामी है ये जीवन निरर्थक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
प्रज्ञान स्वामी का है मोक्षकारी, नष्ट करे सारे अवगुण हमारे, जितनी भी चाहे हो ईर्ष्या हमारी, फिर भी न छोड़ा हमें बेसहारे।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्ता त्रिमूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अहम में डूबे
साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
छोड़े छूटे ना जो बंधन संसारी, बंधन छूटे जो पकड़े प्रीत तुम्हारी। चाहूं ना धन वैभव ना मुक्ति ही प्यारी, तुमरी भक्ति स्वामी संपत्ति हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
यथा शक्ति यथा भक्ति चरण आरंभे, कर्म संन्यास कर प्रेम निर्धारे। कर्म फल त्याग कर भक्ति प्रमाणे, दोनों करे सो कर्मयोगी हो साबित।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
अमृत वचन स्वामी का नैया है पारे, सुन ले मन तू हो जा स्वामी का प्यारे। स्वामी बिन है पैर पंगुम हमारे, स्वामी भजना हरे पीड़ा हमारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
तुम रहो दाता सदा मैं रहूं सदा याचक, तुम रहो सदा मालिक और मैं रहूं सदा सेवक। काहू को डरना जब तुम हो मेरे रक्षक, तुम्हारी सेवा में ही जीवन मेरा सार्थक।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
मनमोहक अति सुंदर अत्यंत प्यारी, आनंदाई स्वामी छवि तुम्हारी। दर्शन मात्रे तृप्त आत्मा हमारी, दृष्टि स्वामी की है चमत्कारी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
परिपूर्णतम साक्षात् परब्रह्म स्वामी, वेदों से परिवेद सार है स्वामी। अनूह्य अवतारी अचिंत्य स्वामी, मनुष्य अवतारी परब्रह्म स्वामी।
गुरु दत्ता श्री दत्ता जय जय प्रभु दत्तात्रेय मूर्ति अवतारी साक्षात् परब्रह्म श्री दत्ता स्वामी।
कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रिये वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् भक्त्यानन्या। श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि, श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि, श्री दत्त स्वामिने समर्पयामि।
ब्रह्म समारंभां श्री दत्तात्रेय मध्यमां श्री दत्त स्वामी पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परंपरां। सर्व विश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते, वामहस्तालोल वेदशास्त्रायते। ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते, श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम्, श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम्, श्रीवेणुगोपाल कृष्णाय वन्दनम्। गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि माम्, विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष माम्, पाहि माम् दत्त रक्ष माम् दत्त। स्वामी नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारम स्वामी जी।
नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारं
नमस्ते
स्वामी।
स्वामी जी।
पाद नमस्कार स्वामी।
नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारं स्वामी जी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
पाद
नमस्ते
नमस्कारं
स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
पाद
नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारम स्वामी।
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
स्वामी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते 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 नमस्ते
प्रणाम स्वामी।
नमस्ते 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 नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी।
नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी जी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते
पाद नमस्कारं स्वामी जी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते
नमस्कारं स्वामी जी।
Namaste, namaste.
Pada Namaskaram Swami.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
Pada Namaskaram Swami.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
Is anyone left to offer pranams to Swami?
Namaste, namaste.
Pada Namaskaram Swamiji.
Namaste,
Pada Namaskaram Swami.
namaste,
Pada Namaskaram Swami.
namaste.
उद्वेगरहिता संतोषरहिता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता शांति समुद्रा श्री दत्ता ओम शांति शांति शांति
Namaskaram Swami.